Good afternoon. Hello. How are you? How are things? Today is Friday the 13th. It's the second Friday the 13th in this year. We're going to have another one, um, I think in November, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought this was just random, and I'm just like, why don't I do, because I haven't done one, a Friday the 13th ranking. And I don't have a lot of merch other than my t-shirt. I have a Funko, little Jason there, little Jason Voorhees, and I have the complete. This is the DVD collection. I don't have the Blu-rays. So sorry, but it's I don't know if you can see the little. Oh, he's kind of going back and forth with the machete. And this even came with 3D glasses because I think it's the third one, if I'm not mistaken, is in 3D. I do like this little box set because it not only does it give you little fun facts, it gives the body count, weapons used. Um, yeah, part three is in 3D, so um, it gives the body count, the weapons used, whatnot. I think that's actually pretty awesome. And as we all know, and if you're new to watching horror films, and especially the Friday the 13th series, when I say series, the franchise, the original, which I thought was kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if it was the first of its kind. One, kind of like a whodunit situation. Um, I don't know if anybody suspected Mrs. Voorhees to be the killer. And this was in 1980. Um, so yeah, so we're gonna go down from the first to um, Jason Takes Manhattan. So the only ones I don't have in here, I have separately. I don't have because then it's going where Jason goes. Because I don't know if they call it Friday the 13th anymore, or if it's just Jason. Jason goes to hell. Jason goes to space or whatever. Uh, Freddy versus Jason. Um, so yeah. So okay, so we'll start with the original Friday the 13th, which came out in 1980. Um, the thing is with this, and if you're one of these people like me, looking for people who you might recognize, I don't know anybody in this movie but Kevin Bacon, which I think at the time he was a nobody. Um, I don't know if this was his particular first like speaking role, but I remember the first movie that I saw him in, and that was Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. And there he had no speaking lines, and I think they were just like, "Hey, would you like a little small role, just kind of a whatever?" And he was like, "Hell yeah!" And so yeah, and then this one he does have a speaking role. Um, he gets killed pretty quickly. He's not the first kill, but he gets killed pretty quickly. And in this one, its body count is 10. Weapons used 4, which is a knife, an arrow, an axe, and obviously a machete. And people for this particular movie. Um, it's between like a 6 and a 7. No one, I don't think it's given it any higher than that. I probably agree with that. I'm going to be completely honest. The Friday the 13th series isn't my favorite, but I do watch them almost every Friday the 13th. This last Friday the 13th that we had, I didn't do anything. I felt like there was a lot going on at the time, and I didn't do it. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say. But so, and with that being said, like I said, so I'll give it like I give it a solid 6. Um, let's go through some reviews, shall we? The first one says surprisingly special. I don't know what they mean by special and scary. So this was written in 2019, and I don't know if this is their first time seeing this film. But well, okay, so it says Friday the 13th is a classic masterpiece. It uses a clever sort of storytelling to hide the identity of the killer, as well as who the main character is to the end. For a slasher movie, it's not as bloody as a modern slasher, but it still delivers brutal kills. The music and sound effects are all great. Definitely agree with that. It had definitely some suspense sounds with sound effects as well. And especially at the time, there was like late 70s going into 80s. So, I mean, you don't expect a lot of like, whatever. The suspense building is as great as you can kind of figure out when someone is going to get murdered, and without spoiling anything. Again, when I say that, I'm joking, because I'm just like, if you haven't seen this by now, because this has been out for quite a few years, so you've had plenty of time to see this movie. Anyway, and without spoiling anything, the acting of the killer is truly terrifying. Some of the acting is kind of cheesy, definitely cheesy. I think all of these, to be honest with you, are cheesy. I mean, is not a lot of great acting. And I mean, this isn't just like poking fun at this one, but like a lot of these horror films that were like early on to like up into the 90s, they were kind of cheesy, and uh I don't think they didn't start getting better until like maybe the mid 90s, just being honest. um where I go, the acting of what is the terrifying and acting kind of cheesy doesn't change much. It has a great atmosphere, and after rewatching it, Friday the 13th from the 1980s is now one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Overall, is a must see movie with a score of 9 out of 10 from me. Okay, so this person actually gave it a 9 out of 10. All right, well, I stick with my rating. I'm gonna give it like maybe like a 6.5. I still definitely say it's definitely cheesy. I mean, again, for the time, it was but it was kind of a one of its kind, um, and then spawning off so many several sequels. If I could talk, Um, let's see. We'll do two more. Okay, and then go on to the next one. Oh, this one's pretty long. Okay, so we'll see if we get to the third one. So he or she gives it a 5 out of 10. Strangely boring and sometimes toothless in retrospect. What do you mean by toothless? Well, anyway, the original Friday the 13th is really only notable for starting off, Lord, I can't read, starting off a long running and much beloved franchise. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for the Friday the 13th franchise, especially as an 80s baby slash 90s kid who grew up in the pop culture environment where the psycho. Oh, reading is fundamental, guys. The psychotic hockey mask killer Jason was known and loved to be pretty much by everyone, even kids like me who didn't see the films until they were older, only vaguely knew what they were about thanks to the whisperings and hints of our older siblings who were actually allowed to see these movies. Usually renting them 2 to 3 at a time. Trusty old VHS from the local video king to watch after younger brothers and sisters went to bed. At the time this review is being posted, the franchise has been running strong for well over 35 years, um, boasting 10 times in its original continuity the fabulously entertaining and dopey as heck crossover spinoff Freddy vs. Jason, a somewhat underrated reboot in 2009, and a planned new film due out sometime within the next year or two. Um, okay, so this was in 2016. So yeah, we never gotten a new um, Friday the 13th film. But we are sometime this year. I think it's this year. Should be getting the series. I think they finally finished wrapping up that series, which is called Crystal Lake. Um. Anyway, um, the film revolves around a group of young camp counselors who are prepping the infamous Camp Crystal Lake for a reopening about 20 years after a mysterious double murder and a tragic drowning involving a young child. However, it appears someone isn't exactly a happy camper and doesn't want Crystal Lake back in business. And this mysterious figure begins to pick off our protagonists one by one until a tense climax reveals the dreaded truth. I'm not gonna read all of this. Too much to read. Let's see. And I guess it's also kind of famous introducing some guy named Kevin Bacon as a supporting character, but I'm not sure if he actually went anywhere after this. I hope he's joking. Like you know these films, but you don't know Kevin Bacon. Um. Oh, okay. I just I just saw. Okay, please appreciate the obvious sarcasm there. I love the bacon. Okay, okay, cool. Because I'm about to say what. Friday the 13th gets the middle of the road 5 out of 10 for me. It's worth seeing because its important part of history, overall franchise, but it's one of the weaker entries and lacks the style of entertainment seen in later films. Um, yeah, I kind of agree with that. After kind of reading all of that, it was a long entry there. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like if you watch it the first time, it's a cool film. You're like, oh wow, like I wasn't expecting, as I just said, a woman to be the killer, and it happened to be the mother of the child she lost who drowned. And you're like, whoa, you know. But again, it's very cheesy. Um, you're rewatching it, several because I again, I myself, I don't know. I'm just like one of those people who, when it's Friday the 13th, I'm just like, what did you do when it's Friday the 13th? Just there are those people who are kind of superstitious. They don't really do much. I am I'm a horror junkie. I love horror films, and then, having this franchise, excuse me, it's it's cool to revisit, but it's just kind of like, you know, it's not the worst of them all, but for it to be the first, and then you know, for I don't know. I guess for someone, if you've never seen any of these and you're like, oh, Friday the 13th is Jason, you go and watching it, and then you're expecting to see Jason in this film and you don't, you're like, what the fuck kind of movie is this? You're going to be very disappointed. So I would get that. So he doesn't show up until the sequel. Um, and if you're a Scream fan like I am, you know that. Um, because that's definitely one of the questions being asked to Drew Barrymore's character. Like, who was the original killer in Friday the 13th? She's like, Jason. No, sorry. Ah, you got that wrong. I saw that movie 20 goddamn times. Well, then you would know the killer, Mrs. Voorhees, was the original killer. Whatever. Didn't quite land that, but you get it. You get it. All right. So moving right along. Oh, I didn't. Did I get? Yeah, I gave my rating. Okay. So I'm gonna. Once I finish, then I'm gonna be like, all right, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Um. So yeah, gave it like 6.5. All right. So part two. Um. Okay. So 5 years after the events of the first film, a summer camp next to the infamous Camp Crystal Lake is prepping to open, but the legend of Jason is weighing heavy on the proceedings. And just like the first one, you don't have anybody that you're going to recognize. Um, like, I don't know any of these people. But the Mrs. Voorhees, she's kind of back as a cameo character, if you will. Her name is Betsy Palmer. Um, this one got a lower score. Um, just out of all, it's like a 6.1 rating. The first one says it's a worthy sequel. While most sequels cash in on the original movie's fame, the second part of the Friday the 13th series lives up on its name. Unlike the first movie, Jason stars in this movie while his mother has the cameo. The gore and the kill scenes surpass the original. The characters are true teenage stereotypes, much like the ending in the original, and the ending here is great. A jump out of your seat moment that lives up to the original. This is way before Jason wears his hockey mask. Very true. Here we are witnessed to a mass killer that uses a pillowcase to hide his scary identity. From here on, the fame of part two made it possible for the next bunch of films to happen. It is much pretty all. Oh, again, please read. Pretty much all downhill from here. While some of those films lived up to be great horror movies, while most fell short and could not recycle the same effect like Part 2 did. Um, I would pretty much agree with that. I mean, it does suck that you have to wait till the third one for him to get his hockey mask, but it is what it is. And again, like they don't all live up to the hype, or like the second one. The second one was actually probably one of the best ones out of the franchise. Um, let's see. This one, I don't know if I said the first one gave us 7. Uh, so many refer to this as the debut of Jason Voorhees. It wasn't. Simply the debut of him killing people. He left that his mom in part 1. Steve Miner didn't mess around too much with Sean Cunningham's successful formula, simply adding some quite inventive kills and bloodletting. No one could be accused of using method acting here. Truth is, it's all pretty embarrassing. The high school script through probably isn't that much out of place. They are school kids after all. Jason himself, though still slightly diminished this, of stature, is one creepy little dude, still without his hockey mask, but wearing a burlap sack that with holes cut out for his eyes. What appears to be his demise is, of course, anything but as part 3 to 10 will attest. The final 15 minutes are quite tension filled and with better than anything in the original. A must see for the devotees of the series. He or she says arguably the best of all 9 sequels. Why I don't understand why they think it's he or whoever wrote this says it's not the debut of Jason Voorhees. What do you mean? It was, because the first one you didn't see him. I mean, not really. He jumped out of the water, but he didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. Whoever wrote this. Let's see. Okay. All right. Well, I'm not gonna read it, but they gave it a 7 out of 10. Anyway, so this one, body count 10. So same as the first one. Weapons used 9. Knife, machete, spear, claw hammer, barbed wire, ice pick, pickaxe, pitchfork, and Jason's bare hands. Very true. Very true. The part 3, which makes sense. It's part 3 in 3D, and then again you do get, it's only one pair, so it's like, oh wait, oh, I'm sorry, is it one pair? Oh, it's 2 pair. Okay, so about to say you're gonna have to share. Okay. Look, if you've never seen this, and while it being 3D, and I'm putting that very loosely, this is a gimmick. A gimmick. I don't know if anybody remembers like watching either movies or TV shows when they were supposed to be in 3D, and it's literally them like right up, like up to the, and it's supposed to be that 3D like effect. I'm just like, what in the hell? Like, okay, I'm gonna see while they're showing this. I don't know if. So okay, I don't know if. Oh wait, here's a little bit more. It's you see, certain things are like right up in your face, and that's supposed to be the 3D aspect of that all. Very cheesy, very cheesy. But with that being said, you get Jason and the iconic hockey mask. I don't know. I don't know if they ever explained that. I don't know where the hockey mask came from. Like, why a hockey mask? I mean, it worked. Um. So this one, Wait, what did I give the last one? I don't even know if I rated it. Um, I'd probably say an 8. Okay, so Jason Voorhees stalks a group of friends who have just arrived to spend the weekend at a cabin near Crystal Lake. Um, this one is a very much lower score. It's a 5.6 out of 10. This one, body count is 12. Weapons used, 10, which is a butcher knife, crochet needle, pitchfork, hatchet, machete, harpoon gun, hot fireplace poker, knife, electrical box, and Jason's bare hands. So, the first one, who he gives a 7 out of 10. There's so much to love about this movie. It's definitely a step up from the last. All right. The setup is the same as Jason targets a new group of druggy, horny teens, but this time in 3D. The kills are great. The eye popping scene is the best, and the effort put into the 3D effects is really impressive and goofy. From the get go, I absolutely love the disco theme. The acting is pretty bad, but in a fun, campy way. The final girl is mostly useless but hilarious as she faces Jason down. I love the bikers, and the movie is overly entertaining and highly successful, mostly because if it's not aiming very high. Plus, this is the one where he finally gets the iconic mask, which is the hockey mask. Um, I don't know if it's a step above the second one, but agreed that he finally gets his hockey mask. But let's see, this one says 6 out of 10. Friday the 13th, Part 3, a light step up from 1 and 2. So finally, the Friday the 13th franchise begins to take shape. Jason finds his signature hockey mask and appears to be more competent monster-like killer. Another group of kids go out to the cabins, and you know the rest. Sadly, once again, there really is no story at all, and by the time anyone is aware of Jason's spree, we're down to the token final girl. I believe this third part to be step up from the first two, and you can see real development, but ultimately these iconic movies are extremely dated and not far off being just another camp slasher, which is true. Um, Friday the 13th Part 3 was released when the 3D fad was going again, and it shows. Several scenes throughout the film are blatantly Im- implemented for those who. I'm sorry, for those with the ridiculous looking glasses. Yeah, I just showed them. As a part of the franchise, this is watchable stuff, but if you're seeing the previous two for the matter, any camp slasher, you'll know exactly what's coming. The good, Jason Voorhees is taking shape. The bad, very generic stuff. I would agree with this. Yeah. There's no point in reading anymore. Yeah, I give it a solid 6. I mean, I yeah, everything right there, and it is sad. It's basically like watching Halloween, you know. And as much as like I'm a more of a Halloween fan than I am of these films. Um, Michael stalks babysitters. And his goal really what was from 1 and 2 anyway was tracking down his sister and trying to kill her. And then got worse after that from 3 and 4, and then oh wait, no, sorry, 3 was not him. 4 and 5 was the niece, and then 6 was the worst, I think, by far. Um, and then it was Halloween H2O, which was better besides the mask. Um, but I think there was just like a little bit more storytelling in those ones than with these. I mean, again, it's kind of same premise, but it's just like, okay, we need more storytelling. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, but yeah. What are you gonna do, right? All right, so uh, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Don't know why they call it the final chapter because it wasn't. Um, this one is a count of 14. Weapons used 9, so slightly below 10. Um, weapons used was a surgical saw, scalpel, knife, another harpoon gun, corkscrew, cleaver, axe, machete, and Jason's bare hands. So without it, I can just read this and I remember exactly what goes down here because I remember the the weapons he used. So after being announced dead and taken to a morgue, Jason Voorhees spontaneously revives, escapes from the hospital, and stalks a group of friends, renting out a house in the countryside near Crystal Lake. Um, Again, don't know anybody in this movie. And I think why I have this fear of like when I like watching something and not knowing anybody, I think of movies like this. I'm just like, this is terrible. And I take that back. Only one person I know from here, and that's from like watching the Goonies and the Gremlins, which is Corey Feldman. Um, I think I know he was in this one. I can't remember if he was in the second one. I mean, the next one after that. This one gets a 6 out of 10. This one people say the best in the series. Um, this one, okay. Ugh, I hate when people write way too much for people to read. I've seen every Friday the 13th movie more than once. I'm a horror compulsed. And what can I say? The Friday the 13th happens to be one of the more campy and fun horror franchises out there. The first 3 were fine, all had great ideas, great kills, great atmosphere. Unfortunately, there was at least one thing off in each of those movies. The original climatic ending hasn't aged well, and some shots linger for way too long, and some parts of part 3 felt clunky and poorly paced. 4 isn't perfect either, but it's a step above its predecessor for a number of reasons. The acting. No one watches horror for the acting. I understand that. But when a horror movie has a likable cast and characters you can relate to and root for, it makes the experience all the more enjoyable. Crispin Glover is as great as a nerdy, horny white boy, and his dancing skills are unmatched. The lead girl and the rest of the supporting cast are all convincing as well. The boy Tommy actually isn't annoying for a child actor. In fact, he's pretty darn good. The nudity, no one watches horror for the okays. Some people watch horror for the nudity, and the boy is the nudity. Oh, and boy, is there nudity in this one. Excuse me. For the final chapter, the crew went all out, throwing 2 gorgeous sisters and numerous blondes into the mix and having all them show their tits and ass. Yeah, both. And although the gratuitous and adds nothing to the plot, it's a nice break from the bloodbath, and I take a little eye candy over forced dialogue in a horror movie any day of the week. Uh, where are you going with this? The pacing, the movie begins with Jason's dead body being sent to the morgue, and it isn't long before the body count ensues. The hospital scene is excellent for a few reasons. One, it has two characters that have less than 5 minutes of screen time, but more personality than anyone from the first two. Um, it's a briskly paced movie and surprisingly keeps up a large amount of its cast alive for a majority of the film. Yet there are enough disposable characters to keep the body count going. It's a great balance. Everything comes down to a good writing and good directing. I like the addition of a family. I like the group of teenage Jason father. This time I don't know what that. Okay, and there really aren't many dull moments. The inclusion of a seasoned backpacker was a nice touch. And Jason's finally getting his shit kicked out of him was a double satisfying. Although the whole Tommy arc didn't work out in the next installment, where he was a nice addition in this one and actually contributed a lot to the story. It's a lot to read. Not only is this the best Friday the 13th film, but it's a damn good slasher in its own right. The characters are likable, the third act is plenty suspenseful, it's entertaining right from beginning to end. If you like 80s slasher and want to see good looking people get terrorized by Jason, then there's no reason not to check this one out. And check out the others, because why not? Um, yeah, I guess. All right, that was a long, so I'm not gonna read any more on that one. Yeah, okay. What do I give this one? Uh, I guess, a 7. Yeah, a 7. Um, all right. From the beginning. Oh wait. Yeah. Okay. So this one is part 5. Um, a new beginning. So yes, I was right. I could. It's been a minute. Because again, I try to watch them every Friday the 13th, except for this last one, and I can't remember if Corey Feldman was in both of these. Um, okay, so still haunted by his past, Tommy Jarvis, who as a child killed Jason Voorhees, is sent to a secluded halfway house in the countryside, where the killing of a young man triggers a brutal series of murders in this area. So this one has 21 body counts. Weapons used 11. A road flare, axe, knife, machete, garden shears, leather strap, long metal spike, tractor, railroad spike, chainsaw, and cleaver. Okay, so this one is pretty low. Pretty low. This one is a 4.8 out of 10. Wow. So I'm not gonna. should okay. All right, we'll go. Okay. Oh baby, oh baby. This is the best Jason to watch drunk. It's almost like a Friday the 13th, a blooper reel. I love the singing on the crapper part. The mod chick doing the robot. Um, just want to earn a meal guy, Crazy Ethel and Junior Billy and Lana, that kid from Different Strokes, the stupid R's ending, and the excessive nudity. It's a time capsule of sorts. It captures all the bad 80s slasher films in an hour and a half. Bad acting, got it. Ridiculous costumes, got it. Lots of big haired women topless, got it. No name stars, obviously coked out of their mind. Oh, this movie has got plenty of that. Watch it and laugh, preferably with some friends. Um, okay. Woo! All right, I'm not reading all that. I'll just read the top part. Ex- Exploitive trash, but at least it's kind of funny. He gave it a 5 out of 10. And okay. This one says okay for what it tried to do, but still the same. All right. No, 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 no. Do I? No. So yes, again, you still don't have many people in here that you're gonna know, except for Corey Feldman, which it was more of like of a flashback situation because he was at 12, and then you got him again when he's older, which was played by John Shepard, and yeah, um, I'm gonna give this one a 5. Why not? All right, let's go to Jason Lives. I didn't realize this was going to take a lot of this time. Okay, so I think I'm going to have to do 2 separate videos. I'm going to try to do it all in one day, post them, and there we go. So I'm trying to do my best and get through this. Okay. Jason. Okay. All right. So Tommy Jarvis exhumes Jason Voorhees to cremate his corpse, but inadvertently brings him back to life instead. The newly revived killer seeks revenge, and Tommy may be the only one who can stop him. This one has 18 body counts, weapons used 9, metal spear, machete, whiskey bottle, knife, dart, rock, an X-Acto blade, outboard motor, and Jason's bare hands. I feel like he uses his hands a lot. So we have another Tommy. This one was Tom Matthews. Yeah, nobody that don't think anybody will know. Mm-mm. No. No. All right, this one got raised up a little bit, so I got 6 out of 10. This one says my favorite Friday movie. All right. I love the Friday the 13th series, but after watching them all countless times over the years, I have to say that part 6 is my all-time favorite. Plain and simple, it's just awesome. Tom McLaughlin, he died, another favorite of mine, one Dark Night. Does an excellent job directing and really piles the atmosphere. Um, and Tom Matthews is the best actor to play Tommy because of his heroic um, attempting to save the lives of those around him and trying to kill Jason once and for all. Jennifer Cook is the appealing as the blonde lead girl, and CJ Grams plays Jason. Plain and simple, awesome for the thrills, action, humor, gore, murders Jason. And what more could you ask for? This is one of the best, no doubt about it. All right. This one, 7 out of 10. The last good sequel of the Friday the 13th. Maybe even the most entertaining of the sequels. Part 6 is the last one to be good and should have been the last one in general. Like previous ones, there are some memorable scenes, and it is a lot gorier than the one before. Also, much more interesting kills. There are some funny scenes too, but not enough to be considered a comedy, which is a good thing in this case. Unlike previous few endings, this one was pretty good. And it's a surprisingly respectable installment. Jason Lives Friday the 13th. Okay, 6, alright. Alright, well, I'm not going to read them all, but let's see. I give it. I think I give this a 7. Yeah. And it. All right. New Blood. This is part 7. Jason Voorhees is accidentally freed from his watery prison by a telekinetic teenager. Now only she can stop him. This one has. Hello? Okay. We gotta reopen it. I don't know what happened. Okay. This one has 16 kills, weapons used, telekinesis, tent spike, sleeping bag, axe, synth, party horn, knife, machete, long-handled machete, power tree saw, and his bare hands. Okay. Nobody worth knowing in here. So this one gets a 5.2. Okay. This is where things begin to get weird. Another Jason movie. Ah, yes. Takes place years after Tommy Jarvis, and it seems like he's gone. Guess again, a girl with telekinetic powers tries to get her dad back, but because she wasn't aware of her power and didn't know how to control it properly, she accidentally brings back Jason. And oh no, he's at it again. Well, there's something you don't get every day. Man, why did I put someone like that in? Someone who's like Carrie, please. Jason does typical murders while she figures out how to control her powers and tries to find out who is this Jason person. And way she fights him is kind of pathetic. She throws stuff at him and rips off his mask, and she can't she do something better like smash him or send him flying to space. But then again, that would be too weird. And it wasn't that exciting either, but I'll stop there. It didn't have everything else you'd expect in a slasher film, but I wish they could have done something else instead of a telekinetic person. Watch it if you're into it or not. Okay, so that was a 5 out of 10. Um, this one, okay, so I don't watch all of them because sometimes you don't have enough time because there's so many of these. I remember watching this and then I'm like, did I like it? Did I not? Now that I'm like reading this, I'm just like, I don't think that I did like it. But the telekinesis part of it was something interesting, something new brought to it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I give them like an E for effort, for trying, right? This is also a 5 out of 10. There's a legend around here. Jason is stuck at the bottom of Crystal Lake after the events of the last movie. Luckily for him, there's a telekinetic girl who cries a lot and has Carrie fits. She inadvertently frees Jason, thinking he's her dead father. Jason immediately starts killing people naturally. The series was clearly trying to move in a new direction with here focusing on a paranormal and supernatural element. Terry Kisser from Weekend at Bernie's plays a shrink. He's better with comedy. Laura Park, who is the girl with telekinesis, her performance consists of crying or being on the verge of crying all the time. My sister used to love the entry in this series because of the angle with the telekinetic girl and the handsome guy who looks like he belongs in a Superman audition. First move in the series where Kane Holder plays Jason. He would be the longest running Jason, playing him for the rest of the series. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of Holder's Jason. He's too big and bulky, like a football player, a pro wrestler. Plus, they put him in some kind of suit where you are supposed to be able to see his exposed spine and rib cage. It's incredibly cheesy and just makes Jason cartoonish instead of intimidating. Most of the people Jason kills in this one aren't particularly annoying or bad. The first couple seemed quite nice. Actually, the whole vibe of the sequel seems off, but it's still a watchable movie. Not the best of the series, but far from the worst. There would only be the more decent one after then went downhill. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna not too try to not to be too judgmental on this one, even though I get it, but it's gonna be either a 6 or a 5.5, somewhere in there. Um, I'll come back and figure out my rating. This one I know is gonna be. So this one is, what number are we at? 8. And it's Jason Takes Manhattan. So, Jason Voorhees try that again. Jason Voorhees is accidentally awakened from his watery grave and ends up stalking a ship full of graduating high school students headed to Manhattan, New York. Most people watch this as a guilty pleasure. Kane, obviously, as I mentioned, he's back as playing Jason. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I never knew who played Jason for the simple fact he's behind a fucking mask. How are you gonna know who plays who in a movie? I mean, sure, is he more bulkier and everything? Yes. Do we care? I don't care. Who cares? Anyway, I digress. So, this one is a body count of 21, weapons used 17. We got a spear gun, 3-pronged spear, electric guitar, hot sauna rock, broken mirror, harpoon, machete knife, electrical station, deck antenna, axed, used heroin syringe, steam pipe, exploding car, drum of toxic waste, wrench, and Jason's bare arms, hands, and fists. So this is maybe one of the lowest, if not the lowest, of the entry. Probably not, because I know we got, again, they're not in here, so I have to look at them on here. We got Jason Goes to Hell, and then Jason X. I call it Jason Goes to Space, because he goes to space. All right, so first one is a 6. Not reading all of that. But guilty pleasure mine, it's not that bad of a slasher film that everyone says. Jason Takes Manhattan is a guilty pleasure of mine. I know this movie was also cut by the MPAA, was Friday the 13th the New Blood, and it's wait, what? And it's not. It is most of the people's least favorite film. Okay, I'm one of the fans that I think this is not that bad of a film at all, like many people are claiming. I will admit, Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason X are a guilty pleasure of mine. In my opinion, are not that bad of films. Well, while you're saying that, I'm not going to read your, because those are bad films. I get it. Everybody has their own opinion. But when you say that, I can't trust your judgment. Okay, so this one is a 6 out of 10. What sounded silly on paper looks even sillier on film. Well. It appears old Jason is bored of Camp Crystal Lake and has taken to the high seas to attack the Love Boat. What sounded silly on paper looks even sillier on film. There are some saving graces, like Kane Holder's performance as Jason, which is excellent as always. However, there are many mistakes, like Jason's appearance, which is not totally different altogether from when we last seen him a year ago or a year before. Jason was not wearing gloves at the end of the previous film. Also, the flashbacks of Jason as a boy contrasts with the appearance given him in part 1. Plus, sorry to ruin things for the first time viewers, Jason spends all of about 5 minutes in the Big Apple. That's it. This was supposed to be the last Paramount Friday the 13th of watching it, and easy to see why. Yeah. Okay, so this gives it a 5. Okay. 5 out of 10. Look out, fans. We're going to make another gratuitous sequel that is both dumb and entertaining. Yep, this movie is stupidity entertaining with Jason on a cruise ship. Is it good? No. Is it bad? No. Is it watchable? Sorta. Was it needed? No. Why did we make another one? Money is the one made 20 million. Hey, it's the 8th sequel. That's pretty good. Would I watch it again? Maybe. Rating 5 out of 10. And you know we're saying this, and I know we're not, this isn't on the subject, but it made me think of Scream and where it may be heading. And I want to make a video about that. But we're in its 7th installment, heading to an 8th. We're not getting good old His name just slipped my mind. Hold on. Look it up. Kevin Williamson back. He uh, he didn't say this, but from the talk about it, he's definitely not directing 8, and I'm assuming he's not going to write. I just hope, for all of our sakes, we don't get Guy Busick back. We don't need that again. I mean, I enjoyed 7. Again, there were some many flaws of it. All together, I enjoyed it. The ending was what was bad. When I say the ending, the reveal. Um, we don't need that. We just don't need that. Anyway. Um, is that okay? Let's go back. Did I give my rating? I don't remember. Jason Takes Manhattan. Okay, so I will say this about Jason Takes Manhattan. Um, and agreeing with the people that yes, he was only in, and I think that was probably the problem of what people were thinking about Scream 6. Is this going to be like a Friday the 13th? Jason Takes Manhattan? Luckily, it wasn't, because they were, well, even though they didn't film in New York, but the whole point of that was them being in New York the whole time, and he was only in Manhattan for like 5 minutes. What is the point in making the whole thing Jason Takes Manhattan when you're only going to be in the fucking film for like less than that? You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, when you're making these movies, make it not only watchable, but make it make sense. Anyway, I give it a 5. Um, it just, like they say, it keeps going downhill. Jason Goes to Hell. I actually remember watching this in theater. I forget how old I was, because this was 93. So I was a young lad watching a horror film all by myself. Born in 82. Although I watched much scarier films when I was at the age 5, but this one, this is where definitely the supernatural elements are being revealed. Um, this gets I think like a 4.1. Um, this one, okay. I haven't seen this movie in quite some time. I don't, I don't, I don't even remember. I don't think I have this film. Um, but this one said 4. Uh, if longtime fans of Friday the 13th Saga have anything to say about it, the people behind this film will burn in the same place as the hockey mask star. Jason Goes to Hell. The final Friday is completely preposterous, out of place, and an effort of what had been a dependable horror series. Yeah, um, it's it was pretty bad, and even me watching it as a, I'm trying to remember how old was I, 93. What is this, 14, 13, I think I was 11. Not old enough to to be in a rated R film, but when you know people, you know people. Okay. Um, this one gives it a 7 out of 10. He says entertaining. I understand the hate, but it's entertaining. Jason Goes to the Hill is a bad, but it's still fun to watch it. It's almost not one good actor. It's a weird plot, but I like that they did something new to the franchise. This movie has some of the best kills of the franchise. Um, and and I think that's why for me, I'm gonna give this. I'm gonna be in the middle. I'm gonna be a 5, and I kind of agree with that, and say, sometimes even though if you go for the big leap and you don't quite make that landing, at least you tried. You might have pulled some hamstrings and whatnot, but at least you made an effort. And sometimes that's saying something. Um, Jason X, now on the other hand, I'm gonna give that a 4, even though let's see what the people. Okay, so Jason Voorhees is cryologically frozen at the beginning of the 21st century and is discovered in the 25th century and taken to space. He gets thawed and begins stalking and killing the crew of the spaceship that's transporting him. It's like what can you say? What can you say? Let's face it. If you're going to rent one of the later movies in a slasher movie series, you'd be an idiot to expect high art. The fact that is the 10th movie of the Friday the 13th franchise, the most knuckle draggingly, ball scratchingly cringeous horror series of all time, and its sets in space doesn't exactly suggest this will be an all-time classic, but it's a good fun way to kill an hour and 30 minutes nonetheless. Yeah, I'll stick with my 4. Um, do we have more? Okay. Um, for the remake that was in 2009, I don't mind that one, and I think I will give that one. I'm gonna give it a 7 for what they did with it. Um, yeah. And now Freddy versus Jason, since that's going to be the last one. Look, that is, where is it even on here? May have to search it. Let's see. What do the people give it? That was 2003. Wow. 5.8. You know what? Because I love this movie, I'm gonna give it a solid 9. Can't go 10, but I'm gonna give it a 9. Look, the fact that you got, I don't even know why he didn't come back, but you got Robert England as Freddy Krueger. I don't know who Kersinger is, but he plays Jason. Again, who cares, right? You got Kelly Rowland. You got Jason Ritter. I just thought this was a hell of a fun time. Now, is this masterpiece? No, it's a fucking horror film, and I had a fun time watching this. I mean, this by far. You got writers like Wes Craven, director Ronnie Yu. Oh, yes, this is cake, icing, ice cream on top, all of it. Um, Now again, because I'm literally running over my time limit, wasn't expecting for it to go like that, but I'm gonna get them all in order and come back and rank them. May not be sitting quite right here, but I'll be back. But you while I come back, um, you let me know what is your ranking system of all of these, all the Friday the 13th, How do you rank them? What is your favorite out of all of them? And are you a fan of the Friday the 13th series? Now, again, I'll be back, but not right now. So, drop down below, let me know.